Yeah, fish on, fish on.
Perfect.
Guest here, country music extraordinaire, Tex-Mex, Latino, you can name it. This dude can do it, and he can catch big fish. Turning the boat. I think I'm gonna anchor down for you. He knows what he's doing. Ah, no.
Perfect.
Damn. God, that's a monster, Ernie. Keep him out of the engine back here, okay? He's gonna make another run. Try to get his head up out of the water. Keep that tip up, Ernie. Don't worry about breaking that rod. Prototype, H&H prototype rod.
Perfect. Turning back around.
Hey guys, Mike Morales here at Fin Factory Kayak and Tackle. I hope you enjoyed some of the clips that we showed from guide trips that we did this past week. I can tell you that it was extremely fun for me. We had clients and friends that ranged from anywhere from 6 years old all the way up to 75 years old. So different skill sets, first timers. I mean, it was just fantastic, as you guys can see from the video. It's something that I take some great pleasure in. For me, the biggest thing is about this episode is what exactly is it that made us successful this past week, from the range of customers that we had, and I can tell you guys that it's no secret to what it is that I do from a guide service standpoint. I basically take it from the basics, which is live bait on a popping cork, all the way up to fly fishing. So for me, I think it's important to tailor that trip around the customer, more than having a cookie cutter approach to guide fishing.
Guys,
so with that being said, guys, let's talk about some of the equipment that we used in that particular situation. Was the Z-Man Pogie lure here. This is attached to the Z-Man Trout Eye jig head. Really small shank jig head here on an 1/8 ounce weight, since we were fishing so light. 1/8 ounce was plenty to kind of keep it out of the weeds, but at the same time get enough descent to get down to where that fish's level's at. This is the plum chartreuse. The water we were fishing particularly was pretty stained, so I wanted to go from from a lighter to a darker situation, and this was the answer for it. Really good bait, super durable, and I just love the Z-Man Elazatech technology when it comes to fishing down here. The rod and reel that we had set up, first and foremost, this is actually 15-pound mono leader, tied to 25-pound fins braid. This is an Albright knot. You really want a smaller knot to really go through the guides really well when you're casting. We cut a lot of this leader off, but typically it's about 24 inches of leader. But plenty strong to handle that bull red without a problem. That bull red was 38 inches, and a lot of people think you need to go extremely heavy, but you really don't. It just takes some time to get them in, but when you do, it's rewarding. Okay, this particular rod that we used is a 7-foot H&H. This particular rod here is an actual prototype that H&H sent me, and they sent me this rod to basically see if I can break it. Super light. You can cast this thing 1,000 times with very little fatigue. And I just really enjoyed throwing this rod, and I hope they make this full production. The reel, this is the Lew's Speed Spool BB1. A little bit heavier reel than I like, but I can tell you that this thing is extremely durable, especially when it comes to saltwater. What I like most about it is it actually has a clicker drag, so when that drag is going off, it sounds pretty cool. I like the durability, especially in the harsh saltwater conditions here, and I can tell you that there's not a reel that, in my opinion, that holds up like this Lew's BB1. When it comes down to a lot of the live bait we were throwing, spinning reel is obviously the easiest apparatus to use or tool to use when you're out there fishing. This is a Finor 2500 series lethal reel. Finor, I know it's kind of a brand that a lot of people don't hear about very much, but I can tell you that since I started using them, with a price point at under $100, I mean, these things hold up to the saltwater conditions extremely well, especially with my kayakers. A lot of them are first timers, and you get a lot of dunking in the water. This one really takes a beating, and I can tell you that I'm not very good at maintenance, and these have done extremely well for me, as opposed to other reels that are either more expensive or what have you. This is the H&H rod. This is the Helix 7'6" medium heavy. It's got a very strong backbone, super light still, and really good from a length standpoint, especially for first timers to really get that bait out there, kind of learning to cast. For me, a longer rod equals more distance, and when you're drift fishing, that's very important. So really good rod by H&H, Helix. These are basically what I use on my guide boat, and I've been extremely happy with them. When we talk about fishing with live bait, for me, live shrimp is very important, and this is probably the best popping cork that I've ever used, and this is the Woody popping cork by Phillips Tackle. This particular cork that you see on here, guys, has been on here now for about 6 months, and as you can tell, it just takes a beating. You know, a lot of those folks that use popping corks used the foam ones, and over about 2 or 3 trips, it's pretty much toast, deteriorated, the foam, the paint's rubbing off. These guys are built to last. They're a little bit more pricey, but I can tell you won't find a better cork out there on the market. This is the 1/2 ounce model, and we also have it in a 1/4 ounce model, but really, really great. When we're fishing live shrimp, for me, I don't like any weight on my line. I use a standard size 2 treble hook here that you see here. A lot of people don't like treble hooks, but I can tell you that what I tell my clients, especially the new ones, is you got 3 chances to catch that fish. And people think you need a really, really big hook, and you know, you really don't, guys. This will handle pretty much any fish, and I've been really happy since I started using this technique without weight to let that shrimp do what it needs to do to get that fish to come and eat it. Okay, so this is about 18 to 24 inch leader, depending on what depth that you're fishing in. This is 15-pound mono. And we were pulling in slot size to oversized reds with this stuff. Finally, this other cork that you see here is actually the woodied knocker. I like this cork, especially in real glassy type situations. It's got a more clickety-clackety sound, a little bit less robust in the sound, so I think that it helps to attract fish when the water is just flat. Things are more quiet. And this thing has been really, really helpful for us, especially with trout. I mean, they just love the sound of this knocker. When I am fishing lures on a popping cork, I will use an 1/8 ounce or 1/32 ounce jig head. This is a screw type lock. This is a piece of gulp. I can tell you right now that if you're fishing with gulp, make sure you take it off, because then it turns rock hard like this one, and it's freaking nearly impossible to get off. So really, really good situation. And I use this only when I'm throwing plastics as a technique. Some of the other lures that we used, this is pretty much my favorite profile from Z-Man, and this is the paddler. I really love this color in clear water situations. This is the Sexy Penny. This is the 3/16 ounce jig head, weedless jig head from Z-Man as well. Does a really good job of maintaining weeds out of your hook, and man, to me, there's not a better bait than this one, just because of the durability and how long it lasts. Okay. As I talked about before, the size of hook, these are the Eagle Claw size 2 treble hook for fishing the live bait on. And then when I'm fishing with the popping cork, I'm using a size 3-inch gulp shrimp. White is my favorite. It's my confidence bait. It seems to work very well. For me, when I'm using live bait, guys, there's nothing more important than portability. For me, as you guys can see, I have my boat up on the lift at my house. And with that being said, being able to take this from kayak to boat to the bait shop without having to take the actual unit is important. So this particular is the live well from Hobie. This guy, I think, holds a total of 5 gallons of water, which is comparable to about 2 quarts of live shrimp. It's both a pump where the water will cycle through, or in this particular case, I like to oxygenate them, because very much quieter situation. I don't have to have the unit plumbed to the water, and it's easy to just take on and off the boat or on and off the kayak without a problem. I've got 2 types of situations, both oxygen and bubbler, just in case my oxygen goes out, and I got a really good stone in there to diffuse the oxygen to get a really good thorough oxygen level in the water. So the Hobie live well, guys, I can tell you that it's really, really easy to use, and instead of having to put live bait in the boat, keep it right here in your live well without an issue. People know, guys, part of our biggest thing is fishing out of the kayak, but I can tell you, fishing out of a boat, we also do guide trips out of a boat, as you guys saw. And contrary to a lot of different boats that you see here in South Texas, guys, I use a Hells Bay professional 17.9 poling skiff. Really runs skinny, which is very important for me, especially if we're doing fly fishing or sight casting to redfish. It doesn't hold a lot of people, 2, 3 at the max, depending on the size of the person, but for me that's okay, because I prefer being more personal with the customers and really give them the service that they need. This particular boat isn't fast. It runs on a 70 horsepower motor, tops out at about 35 miles per hour. but I can tell you that to me, there's just no finer vessel to fish off of because of how well it handles chop. It's virtually dry, runs very smooth, and it's just, it's simple. You get out there and you get stuck on a flat, you know, you don't have to call somebody to tow you out, and I've done it before. This guy's so light, you just get off and push it out into deeper water, and it just makes for a really, really true fishing vessel. No bells and whistles like big speakers and all that other jazz. This is designed for fishing. Got it rigged out with a 6-foot power pole, which is plenty deep to fish anywhere I'm fishing, which I rarely pull down anyway, but really, really good boat. You know, when I talk about electronics, man, I use this Raymarine Dragonfly, and that's really all I need to chart waypoints or chart water depths, that kind of thing. It's a really, really good situation. This is an old Dragonfly. I've had it for over 4 years, and it's taken a beating. But this is the Hells Bay polling skiff. I am on the Hells Bay guide team, so if you guys want to look me up, I'm on Hells Bay's website as well. But if you want to try your luck on the flats on one of these little babies, then come on and see us, okay? All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Sometimes it's difficult to be the cameraman and the guide at the same time, so I know some of those clips I got were very short. I wish we could have seen hook set and technique and what have you, but hopefully we'll save that for another day. Other than that, guys, if you have any questions regarding anything we talked about, feel free to comment or send us an email in the inbox. If you'd like to set up a charter with us, visit us at finfactorycharters.com for some of the details, or give us a call at the shop at Fin Factory Kayak and Tackle right here in Corpus Christi. Other than that, guys, thank you again for watching. Click like, subscribe, and hope to see you guys out on the water soon. All right, guys, tight lines.